President Joe Biden had to come out and apologize a few days after giving what could be potentially, we hope, his final State of the Union address. He had mispronounced a white American girl who was murdered by an illegal immigrant, Lincoln Riley, calling her Lincoln Riley, but he didn't apologize to the girl's family. I mean, after all, she does have white privilege. Why would he need to apologize to her? No, he apologized to the illegal immigrant who murdered her because he called him an illegal immigrant. I don't know who votes for these people. My God. Well, listen. I'm going to go over the State of the Union. What did I think? We all know. The first thing I want to talk about with the State of the Union is we should always be impressed by the president when he gives a State of the Union. Think about the State of the Union. It's like an hour and a half of uninterrupted propaganda. And supposedly the person that we elect is supposed to be really good at political talking. They're in their political prime and they spout all of their accomplishments completely uninterrupted. So that's number one when it comes to the State of the Union in general. And I'm not saying Trump's this great speaker or anything like that. I think both Trump and Biden, people are looking at this and saying, we certainly need someone younger. The issue is a lot of, people doing that. Democrats will then turn around and say, oh, but Trump is a disgusting fascist. We can't vote for him. So we have to vote for Biden. I think Trump is a little bit too old at this point, but it's obvious he is more there in terms of mental. And it's funny to see them try and swing it. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Oh, but Trump, he mispronounced a few words. Good, let's give both of them an IQ test and let's film it on camera and we'll see who does better, Trump or Biden. They don't want to do that. Oh, but then they don't want to do it. But they want to say they're both bad in terms of their cognitive ability. Just not true. It's not even close. But the first thing is we should always, it's like we have this visual of a president who's a 50-year-old dude in his political prime, spouting all of his accomplishments, talking well, being loud, commanding the room, being a leader, and we just don't get that because of the people that we're electing. And you see Biden go out there, and people have mentioned this, and they've talked about this, and this is something that I observed with Biden during his State of the Unions. He comes off very angry, Biden does, during his State of the Unions, and the reason I think that's because this is not the real Biden. They've got him hopped up on something just to get him through these. Remember, these are the same people, the Democrats, their strategy when it comes to Biden is hiding him. He very rarely will do a press conference. They're afraid of him, 30 minutes, 40 minutes with the press. When you have to talk for over an hour uninterrupted, they're probably hopping him up on something pretty significant. So when Biden talks during his State of the Unions, it always just comes off so nasty and almost like so arrogant. And that's mainly because I think that's really not him. They've got to hop him up on stuff just to get him through it. But when it comes to the State of the Union, I mean, think about the context of what happened. He mispronounces a white American girl's name. And by the way, even just the way he mentioned her, it was like it was a chore for him to even mention her. And then it's the greatest thing. He mispronounces her name. He comes out and apologizes, but not to her. No, to her killer. Because we can't classify them as illegal immigrants. And this policy that the Democrats have, where they think they're in third grade and everyone can just be kumbaya and we can open the border and let everyone in. Yeah, that sounds great. That's very nice. That's not how it works when we're a first world country and we're bordered by a third world country and you let these people in completely unchecked. There's going to be some violence issues there, don't you think? Because they're all very poor. This is a very simple concept, and you will lose if this is your border policy, to be soft on illegal immigration. Not only are they soft on illegal immigration, right now, according to Democrats, what I'm doing is racist by calling it illegal immigration. I'm racist. But then again, I mean, nowadays, you're racist if you're a white person and you look at your shoe the wrong way. That is how out of control it's gotten. And it's not like, see, it'd be one thing if Biden and their administration did this and they were kind of polling okay, but he doesn't have that. Biden is underperforming Trump significantly in terms of approval rating based on where Trump was going into his fourth year. Biden has the worst approval rating in modern American presidential history since we've really started tracking it in the 50s and 60s, and more recently with Bush, Obama, and Trump, Biden is significantly lower than all of them. It's not even close. So Biden's chances of winning the general election, I mean, you even take a look at Minnesota with a recent poll that has Biden up by 4. I will say it is interesting, an observation I had during the State of the Union. This was actually before it. I was watching CNN, and for me, this is so foreign because I've really followed politics 2 election cycles, 2015, 2016, 2019, and 2020. And in 2016, Donald Trump, it was a huge uphill battle. Remember, back in 2016, Trump had to weave the perfect needle in terms of winning basically every swing state. Going into that election, Hillary was the favorite in Florida. Hillary was, possibly a slight favorite even in Ohio. So Trump winning in 2016, the entire dialogue going into that was he has a very small chance of winning. Hillary's approvals were way better. You look at 2020, right after the shutdown of the country, one of Trump's strongest attributes going into March of 2020 was the economy. He loses it. And of course, the whole idea of the shutdown, you can hate Donald Trump all you want. That has to be one of the worst hands any president has been ever dealt. It's your re-election year, you're the incumbent, and you have to shut the country down, and then it's a lose-lose because if you open it back up in a month, Democrats will say, you're killing people, why would you open it, why would you expose us to it? If you leave it closed for months on end, the economy completely collapses. So say what you want about Trump, you want to call him a fascist, whatever fear-mongering tactic you want to use, he got dealt a really bad hand in 2020, but even going into the 2020 election, I mean, it's crazy to look back on the polling where Biden was +7 in terms of general election, +7. Right now, Trump is +2. And obviously, the popular vote isn't extremely meaningful because we saw Trump win back in 2016 pretty easily, sweeping the swing states while losing the popular vote by 3 points. But it's just, to see Trump, that's a 9-point swing where the final polling was going into election night. It was Biden +7.5. And right now, polls which tend to lean and overfavor Democrats and overestimate them, even the polls are saying Trump is +2, and obviously that's going to equate to Trump being up in Georgia, not by 3 points, not by 5 points. Trump's up in Georgia by about 9-10 points right now. He's going to win Florida. The DeSantis shift has completely changed that state. It's not a swing state anymore. He's going to win Ohio, and now you're possibly opening the idea to maybe a state like Minnesota. You're getting Minnesota and Virginia would be the next 2, I would say. If Trump takes Nevada, Arizona, obviously the Rust Belt is going to be interesting. Ohio is clearly Republican. The other 3 are complete toss-ups. I would agree with you there. You look at 2020, how close the vote totals were. 2016, they were extremely close. So I just think at this point, there's such a clownacy to the idea of Biden still being a viable option. I went back to the mid-2000s to listen to Biden when he was running with Obama, and he strikes me as just any old politician. If he would have been a president in 2005, 2006, sure, I probably wouldn't have agreed with him, but he's just a president. This situation with Biden, it's very simple. He is not cognitively all there. He's just too old. Again, if he was running in 2007, 2008, it's different. He seems like a normal, run-of-the-mill career politician. He's just gotten too old. That's the reality of the situation. And they've entrenched themselves into Biden because it's like you've got the Kamala problem. Kamala is so unlikable. The only reason Kamala is even the VP was to balance the ticket. If you got an old white man, you've got to balance it with a minority female. And it's like, do you jump Kamala with Gavin Newsom? That's white privilege. You can't do that. See how they twist themselves into a pretzel because they're obsessed with race and gender and all of it. They really don't know what to do. Do you go with Gavin? I mean, Gavin Newsom is certainly a more viable option right now than Biden. A lot of independent people, it's just such a pie in the sky that Biden can actually handle the job for 4 more years. And then what do you do if you're the Democrats? Nobody wants Kamala in the White House if Biden croaks 2 years into it, into a second term. So right now, I really don't know what's going to be happening, but Biden's fall, it's really an age thing and the shift in terms of the Democratic Party. You listen to Biden 10, 15 years ago talking about illegal immigration. Nowadays, Biden would call what he said 10 years ago racist. That's how far they've shifted. It's like nobody's just saying this randomly. You can go back and listen to him talk about illegal immigration and talk about the terrible fines that should be placed onto people that hire illegal immigrants to work for them. But now you can't even say the word illegal immigrant because it is racist. And this is not what the Democrats should be doing. Most Americans do not share that viewpoint. They want the border to be secured. It makes complete sense. When you're a first world country bordered by a third world country, this is going to be a problem. You don't have the same problem with Canada because Canada's a first world country. And then we have this, quote, solve the fucking problems we have now. In a speech at Columbia University, the vice chancellor criticized his own profession with unusual clarity. Habeck does not see the U.S. on path to climate neutrality. So again, with the climate change, things like that, the complete disingenuous nature of these people saying the United States pollutes too much, the CO2 emissions, they are doing what they always do. Self-blame your own country when there are bigger problems in the world. China pollutes double the CO2 emissions the United States does. If the United States got to a net zero, it would not change much of anything because China already has double the United States in terms of the net emissions. So these people come out, they say America is so bad, they pollute everything. Well, then what do you think of China? My God, if you think America is destroying the world and our future ecosystem, you must think China is basically setting off nuclear bombs every day if that's what you think about America, considering China is doubly worse than the United States. You can shut these people down whenever they argue climate change just by mentioning China. That's all you have to do. They are double the United States. If you really think this is going to kill us in the future, you should be flying, I guess not flying, taking a boat to China and talk to the people in Hong Kong. Like, I could understand it. If the United States, by far, I mean, we have the biggest economy, I get it. Let's say we're the #1 polluter, you know, doubling any other country, then yes, these people would have a legitimate argument. You could say, all right, let's bring it down. Let's really focus on that. But their fear-mongering doesn't even make sense because it's not even like the United States is the biggest polluter. So it's just so disingenuous. It's so disingenuous. And then we've got this, a senator coming out, breaking her silence on Laken Riley, the incident, coming out. And listen, this woman apologized. Oh my goodness. Let's see what she has to say. It's unfortunate. Yes, it is unfortunate. A young white girl died because of an illegal immigrant. But she says that the president used the language. Oh, yes, of course. How can we be so disrespectful to the illegal immigrant that murdered the white American? It's, you know, the white girl has white privilege. We don't even have to, don't focus on her. No, 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 no. The illegal immigrant. Oh, my God. I just said it. I just said illegal immigrant. I'm racist. I'm sorry. I have to end this video. I'm sorry. This is disgusting. But guys, that's going to do it for this one. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.